so today we're going to be making Remington James Mexican pizza. You know, you remember your favorite pizza from Taco Bell. I haven't had one in many, many years, and quite honestly, I was pretty put out when they got rid of it. So today we're actually going to make a smaller version than Remington's. Remington does a full burrito size. I'm going to do individual pizzas because I'm a lady and I like smaller things that I can just eat all of instead of saving for later. Now, you'll see I have most of my ingredients set out here. I have enough to make one for myself and one for my husband. So we're going to start by cooking our tortillas. We're going to crisp up our tortillas, and I am actually using Walmart's brand flour tortillas, and they are pretty good from a macronutrient perspective. One tortilla is 100 calories and let's see here, 3 grams of fat, 15 grams of carbohydrates, and 2 grams of protein. So pretty reasonable for a regular tortilla. So we're going to heat these up, and you'll see I actually have one over here that I am cooking, and I have them in the skillet, and I'm just going to flip it every once in a while until they crisp up. And I'm also going to go ahead and cook my beef. I'm cooking 2 pounds of beef today so that we can have some leftover, and I'm going to season it with the Taco Bell taco seasoning mix. All right, so let's get started. We're going to start again by doing our tortillas and cooking our beef. Okay, as you can see, I've got my ground beef on the stove, and I use a fancy little Pampered Chef smasher just to break up the ground beef and to keep it from sticking. And I'll just let this kind of squish around, and we'll cook that. And I have it around 6 or 7. We could probably turn that up a little bit. All right, now you'll see that my tortilla right here is starting to crisp up. So I'm gonna flip it over because you see it bubbling. I'm gonna flip it over and let it cook a little bit. Now you'll wanna cook your tortillas about 2 to 4 minutes. I have my heat set pretty high on 6, and I'm going to flip it again every about 60 to 120 seconds just so that it doesn't get burned. And I'm gonna do all of my tortillas this way. Okay, so now we're ready to assemble, and I'm doing this on a cookie sheet lined with parchment paper. And I actually wrote a B for Brian and an A for Ashley on here so I know whose is whose, because our macronutrient goals are a little bit different, and so how much we're putting of each thing may vary. So we're gonna start with the beans, and I highly recommend heating them up for about 20 to 30 seconds so that they're softer and easier to spread. And both of us are using about 128 grams of beans. And I know that looks like a lot, but this is gonna be super good. So kind of mash that around, get that all over. And now I'm gonna add Brian's ground beef. And I will tell you, in making the ground beef, every recipe is an experiment, right? So in making the ground beef, I discovered that I added too much water. So we ended up with more of like a taco soup, but that's okay. We just strained it out and got our meat. So I'm gonna add the meat on here and try to get it all on there. And again, it may look like a lot of meat, but this will be pretty fantastic when we're done. All right. I'm gonna just mash that down a bit. Now for Brian, he's going with 200 grams of beef. I'm just going to slide this back up here. Promising he could, if anything fell off, he could eat it. So here we go. All right. Now, I have all the beef on there. I'm going to put his top shell off. If you remember, the Mexican pizza had 2 layers. And we are going to add our, that's mine. We're not going to add that. We're going to add our enchilada sauce. I couldn't remember what this stuff was called. And we actually only used 1 serving, or actually half a serving. 1 serving is 60 grams. We used 30 grams of the enchilada sauce. And you just want to get that on there and spread it out pretty good. Looks like that might even be a bit much, but we're going to go ahead and give it a shot. Well, learn every time you make something, right? Okay, now we're gonna put the cheese. Now we have about 80 grams of cheese. We're going to put a ton of cheese on here. Now we use fat-free cheese often. The Kraft fat-free cheddar melts really well, and I just like cheese. So we're gonna put that on there, and then sprinkle a little bit of pico de gallo, or clump it on there, and spread that out. And then you have it ready to go in the oven. And now I'm gonna assemble mine, and then we'll get it in the oven. Okay, as you can see, we now have both of our pizzas assembled. You'll notice mine looks a little bit different. Again, our macronutrients are different. So what I assembled mine with is different. I used 150 grams of the ground beef versus Brian's 200. And you can notice my pico de gallo is a little bit less as well. He has all the carbohydrates I don't have. So now it is time to throw these in the oven. I've been preheating the oven at 450 degrees. We're gonna slide them in there for 5 to 10 minutes. Check it at 5 minutes. We're looking for our cheese to be melted, but we don't want to burn our pizzas. And here they go. All right, guys, as you can see, our pizzas are done and plated. Brian's is a little bit of a mess because he had so many other things, or so much more meat and stuff on his than mine, so you can see it kind of just spooched everywhere. Now mine is still pretty sturdy, and actually I could pick this up if I wanted to. It's pretty solid, as you can see. But I'm gonna cut it and give it a taste, and let's see what it tastes like. Now I always ate my Mexican pizza with a fork and knife, unless I was really, really, really late night. You know what I mean? All right, let's see what we got. Try to get a little bite of everything on here. That's a big bite, so we'll see how it happens. Oh my God. That is really good. Note to self, don't shove a huge piece of food in your mouth while you're filming. That is amazing. I highly recommend it. I will tell you a couple of lessons. Like I said, try not to overstuff it, or I may try next time to use the larger tortillas and just cut it into multiple servings. All right, that's what I have for y'all today. I'll post up the macronutrients for each of these. Thank you and have a great day. Okay, everybody, our Mexican pizza comes in at 617 calories. And yes, that is slightly higher than the Taco Bell version. However, it is much higher in protein and lower in fat. You can customize your Mexican pizza to your desired macronutrient goals. For this one, we are at 68 grams of protein, 57 grams of carbohydrate, and 13 grams of fat. Okay, everybody, if you have enjoyed this Mexican pizza recipe, please give us that thumbs up, give us a subscribe, and drop a comment down in the comments. Stay connected with us through our other social media accounts.